Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here in Washington, D.C., where we're at Textron's headquarters in the nation's capital. Day after Bell Helicopter, a Textron company, had their V-280 Valor make its first test flight down in sunny Amarillo, Texas. Joining us is Carl Coffman, who is the Director of Global Business Development for Advanced Tiltrotor Systems at Bell Helicopter Textron, which is a very short title, Carl.
Short title.
You're a retired United States Army colonel. You flew the Kiowa Warrior, the OH-58, a Bell product, but he also flew a Boeing stroke McDonnell Douglas product, which was the Apache. Always in the business of scouting and attack, so you were always practicing the kinetic end of things. I want to ask you, congratulations on this. You guys have made a major bet with this program. A whole bunch of companies are pursuing the United States Army contract that's out there for future vertical lift technology. You guys are looking at this as a high payoff for the United States Army. Bring us up to speed on what you accomplished yesterday and what the rest of the test program is here in this immediate 1 month, 6 week, 8 week period.
Okay, so yesterday we achieved first flight, which is very important for us and a great milestone. It's important to understand that is just one milestone here in many to come and where we've been in the past. So approximately, over 4 years ago, we started building the aircraft and we laid a date out on the map. And we said, hey, look, we're gonna get this aircraft built. We're gonna, work on leap ahead technology here, something no one's done before. We've got a lot of things we've learned off of V-22. Worked hard over the 4 years in Amarillo, got the aircraft built. Yesterday, it broke friction with the ground. We got it off the ground and it flew. We're very happy about that. 32 hours of ground run over the last couple of months. Got the aircraft off the ground. It flew safely. Everything went really well. We landed it safely back on the ground, and we're looking forward to, analyzing the data that we have now and moving out over the next 4 months. So.
And I just wanted to tell everybody that Bell Helicopter is the sponsor for our weekly Defense and Aerospace Business podcast. So I just wanted to get that out at the very top. As you guys, so how long was the flight? What altitude, what speed did you guys hit? As because this was a big milestone.
So this is a huge milestone for us. Like I said, this is just one of many more to come as we continue to expand the flight envelope. Yesterday we were off the ground for approximately a minute in a IGE hover. The pilots in there were working pilot-induced oscillations to make sure that everything was going to perform as we expected. The aircraft is performing very well. It's performed well over the last 32 hours of ground run, restrained, unrestrained, on the run stand, and yesterday during its flight.
And how long do you think it's going to be before you guys take kind of a more point-to-point run where you guys are running it for a little bit longer distance and actually trying to cover some ground?
Okay, so yesterday before flight we actually ran it for about an hour and a half to make sure everything was panning out, and we're being very deliberate with the aircraft. We have one, so it's important that we're very deliberate, and we want to make sure we gather all the data that we can. We'll continue to expand that flight envelope over the next 4 months. We'll start to, we've been on the run stand at 95 and 70 degree pylon. We'll get the aircraft off the ground. We'll start converting it and start flying over the next, a very detailed test card and a test program laid out over the next 4 months. We predict somewhere around April we'll have everyone out for a full flight demo.
That'll be very neat, and would love to see that and maybe talk to you and somebody else from the program at that point. But talk to us a little bit about the lessons learned. I mean, one of the things the company is eager always to say is, you're half of the V-22 team. That was the pioneering tilt rotor. It's in service now with the United States Marine Corps, with the United States Army. It's going to be in service with the United States Navy as well, and you guys are looking for a number of international sales opportunities on that, whether for the United Arab Emirates or even in the UK context, where that always comes up as a potential carrier onboard delivery for the new British very big deck carriers. But talk to us a little bit about what are some of the core lessons learned from the V-22 program that you guys are folding into this, whether it's to try to take cost out per flying hour or cost out from a manufacturing perspective.
So that, cost is certainly something that everyone's concerned about, and as we help the Army, or we provide the Army with an option here with future vertical lift, and how they need to either modernize the fleet, reprioritize funding, whatever it is, it's their decision to do to get onto FVL transformation. We're here to provide an option. So we've taken V-22, and we always talk lessons learned from V-22. 400,000 hours of operational V-22 time out there. The Marine Corps and the Air Force, the AFSOC folks are using it. They're expanding its capabilities. They're using it for a lot more than what we intended it to be used for, or for what they intended to use it for. A lot of lessons learned in that. The idea with the V-280 is it's a clean sheet, digitally designed, purpose-built aircraft, medium lift Cape Set 3 aircraft. So we learned a lot from V-22. How we build the wing, broad goods laydown, common core wing. We have a straight wing as opposed to a forward swept wing. We've learned that with the blade flapping, we don't need a dihedral wing anymore, which certainly reduces the cost and the complexity of manufacturing that wing. Took us about, to build the first V-280 wing, it took us about half the time it takes us to build a production V-22 wing, and we've built several hundred of those. So we're learning a lot very quickly. And the drivetrain. We learned a lot in the drivetrain as well. We have fixed engines now. We rotate the prop rotors. We don't rotate the engines, which reduces the complexity. No mid-wing gearbox, takes a significant amount of weight, cost, and complexity out of the aircraft. So we're continuing to develop those things as we manufacture this aircraft and as we fly it. So we're learning a lot from V-22. We have learned a lot from V-22, and we'll continue to do that. So we think we've got a competitive prototype aircraft. We understand that that's without requirements right now. We're waiting for requirements to get pinned down, final requirements. We'll be able to make some minor adjustments to what we have right now, we think, and we're going to be real close.
You're a helicopter pilot, and there are those who say that what the Army is really looking for is another helicopter. That this is too complex, too long range, puts too high of a marker on speed, and that helicopters are innately more agile, for example, than a tilt rotor.
Yeah.
You've flown those aircraft. How do you respond to each of those? How are you responding even as you meet with your former buddies in the Army when they're asking you about this program? How are you answering those questions?
Well, if you take a step back and take a look at it, as a commander and as an individual, flying military aircraft, you've never had anyone ask for less capability, right? I'd rather go slower and be able to carry less. So that's kind of the way we went into this, and we're looking at tilt rotor. Absolutely, the V-22s inform that. A lot of discussion on agility. And the fact that, people believe that a V-22 is not agile. If you talk to the guys flying V-22s, they might disagree with you. This aircraft will meet all the ADS level 1 33 standards. We want to, we think that with the blade flapping and the conversion of the prop rotors, this aircraft is going to be more agile than you have of any of the aircraft that are out there now. So it will meet or exceed what the current utility aircraft will do. We believe that you're going to have to put a box around the capability of the aircraft. So the limb fac is not going to be the aircraft. The limb fac is going to be the individual flying the aircraft. So the aircraft will be more capable than what you want it to actually do. So the agility discussion continues to rear its head. We will prove that out in flight test. That's really the only way to prove, to a military customer, it's a show me state, right? You got to prove it to them. So as we continue to fly the aircraft, we continue to test it through the flight test cards. We're going to prove that this aircraft is agile and will meet that or alleviate that particular concern.
How are you guys dealing with, how are you getting input, right? There are retired guys like you, but what are some of the inputs that you're still feeding into the refining of this product? The new Washington office head, which you guys have announced, you guys are going to have an office here in Washington, D.C., and I'll let you talk to us a little bit about the man who's going to be leading that and the experience set that he brings to that, which is considerable. But talk to us a little bit about what are some of the lessons you're feeding into this so that this is a big leap for the Army. The Army tends to be a very conservative organization when it comes to, leaps like this, that the more they look at it, the more attractive this is going to be for them.
Well, we absolutely want to get it right. And when we go into the competition, we want to be, heads and clearly ahead of what the competition is bringing to the table. Most importantly, though, is we want to get at the Army's multi-domain maneuver requirements, so the future fight. As you get more precision fires, you have more long-range fires, you have ISR capabilities now. We're in the future, we're not going to fight a near-peer competitor. We're going to fight a peer competitor. We've been at war now, in Afghanistan and Iraq over the last 13 or 14 years. We've done well. There's a lot of lessons learned there as well. But the next one's going to be a little more complex. So we have to prepare ourselves for that. And so we constantly, this is a partnership with the U.S. government. So, we take a look at this and we have Bell and Team Valor, our 11 teammates. Well, we really have 12 teammates. Our 12th teammate is the U.S. government. So we are constantly in contact with those guys and developing requirements and answering their questions, like agility, like speed, like range, and what it means to the future fight. So there's a constant engagement with our Army customer and our Marine Corps customer. We appreciate the Marine Corps and all that they've, and they continue to help us. They're interested as well. They understand the value of tilt rotor. They got that and understand that, and they're helping us inform those requirements as well.
And explaining at the very highest levels of the United States Army why the tilt rotor is. I know that the Commandant of the Marine Corps does not pass up an opportunity to tell the Chief of Staff of the Army how great the V-22 is.
Well, absolutely, and the Commandant's even said. General Miller made a statement in AUSA when they rolled out the multi-domain maneuver in FM 3.0 at AUSA. He made a statement, I think, that's telling. He said, a V-22 in the United States Marine Corps offer combatant commanders a capability that no other service can provide them, and that's because of the capabilities and the performance of the V-22.
So do you think that a Pacific strategy, for example, and some of the things that we're doing that involve distance, time, and payload are going to favor your airplane?
I think so, and I think it should. We're going to be, in the future fight, we're going to have to go at ranges that extend beyond what we currently can, and not just a little further, and not just a little faster. A capability that tilt rotor brings, whether you have aerial refuel capability with it, like we've seen with the V-22, the importance of the V-280 is not just tactical response and agility at the X, which we will have, but you also have to consider strategic response. So that's important as well, and especially in places like the Pacific where you have a lot of ground to cover or water to get over in order to get to ground. You have a lot of space, a lot of distance you have to travel. So when you look at that and you take a look at the V-280, its capability allows you strategic deployment followed immediately by tactical employment. And that's something I think we need to consider. The days of receiving, staging, building your aircraft back up, getting ready to get into the fight and integrating yourself into the fight as a unit are probably gone. You're not going to have that capability anymore. So we have to get from where we are, strategically deploy to the fight and employ immediately.
Let me ask you the biggest question, which is cost. We had a couple of very prominent analysts who are on our program, Ron Epstein of Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and Sash Tusa of Agency Partners over in London. Both think the tilt rotor concept is amazing for speed, for distance, and is game-changing in its capability. But the issue has been cost. Sash, joked that in order for us to get 22 Marines somewhere, I can put them on a G550 and fly them over there for roughly the same amount of money for a V-22. Yes. And Ron Epstein said, hey, look, that's for Blackhawks or 1.5 Chinooks, right, which is the fastest helicopter in the inventory, or certainly one of the fastest helicopters in the inventory. What are some of the things you're doing to take cost out of this program? You talked a little bit about some of the lessons learned in Passover, but how important is cost? What are you guys doing to take cost out? And what are you doing to also change the mentality of the Army away from a pure kind of cost calculation, right? Because, even in best case, there are those who say you're going to be more expensive than a helicopter no matter how hard you try.
There's two ways to look at the cost piece. One, several ways, more than two, actually three. So in the design of the aircraft and using our CAD and 3D digital design certainly helps us from the design to the build, and then from the build, when you have that common data source, to the manufacturing of the aircraft. So our digital thread that was what we refer to it as, will certainly help us drive down the cost of maintaining the aircraft. Allows the crew chiefs and the actual maintainers, the hands-on guys, more hands-on, more time on the aircraft with that capability. They are well informed. Instead of looking at 2D drawings, they're out there looking at 3D. They can spin, they can turn, they can move these parts around. They get list of parts. They have parts lists. They have priorities of work. They have the tools they need. All that is readily available to them at their hands on a tablet at the aircraft. And that's how we built the aircraft. So that saves cost and time as well. Manufacturing the aircraft, like I talked about earlier, the way we build the wing, it's tape laid with a V-22. It's broad goods layup with our yokes and our wings. So it certainly takes a significant amount of time out. So it's a reduction in manufacturing costs as well. And then operating cost. So the aircraft, may cost a little more to operate in the Black Hawk than, we're digging through those numbers right now as we do that assessment. But you also got to look at it in terms of what you have available. So I can move twice as far or twice as fast. Then you got to do the math, so to speak, on that cost analysis as well. How much does it cost me to execute this mission with a future aircraft or a tilt rotor aircraft as opposed to a legacy fleet aircraft? So we're continuing to push that. We had a discussion yesterday, as a matter of fact, with the government with some cost modelers. We haven't designed and built an aircraft in the U.S. government, a helicopter, in a while, a long time. So they're looking at now in the digital environment, how does that digital environment inform our parametrics and the cost model of developing this aircraft? So they've got to learn a little bit of learning to do in that as well, and so do we. And like I say, this is a U.S. government and a Team Valor Bell Helicopter partnership, and we're cross-talking that all the time and trying to get at those new parametrics and understand exactly what that means.
And talk to us about the retired general officer who's leading your Washington
Okay.
office and why that's going to make all the difference in the world, at least from your guys' perspective.
Well, it does make a lot of difference. It's good because, you know, I'm getting additional guidance now, which is always good. So it's now Jeff Slosher has been brought on as an EVP for strategic pursuits here as we expand our presence in the district, which is important, and expand our presence with the customer. Jeff Slosher brings a lot of experience in industry as well as in the Army. So, you know, Assistant Division Commander of the 101st Airborne Division, Commander of the 101st Airborne Division, those guys certainly know the air assault business better than anyone else. That's their core competencies. That's their bread and butter. He's got a lot of special operations background with aviation, very, very respected military leader, very respected industry leader. We're excited to have him on the team. He's going to bring a lot to it. So he's really returning to the team. So initially, when we were in the design of the aircraft and we were trying to figure out exactly what kind of capability, what we wanted the aircraft to look at, side doors, non-rotating engines, tail wheel landing gear, Jeff Slosher has his fingerprints all over this aircraft already. He departed from that after he helped us out with that, and he's come back now, kind of to take the baton and the kind of the fifth leg of the relay, I guess, and take it across the finish line. We're excited. We're excited for the expansion here in D.C., and we're excited to have him on board.
Sir, thanks very much. Best of luck on the program. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to staying in touch as time goes
will.
on, and hope you guys have a terrific holiday and a very happy New Year. And we'll talk to you in 2018.
Absolutely. And you guys are welcome in Amarillo anytime you want. Bell Helicopter is proven to be an innovative company. This is exciting news. We're looking at expanding our capabilities a little bit, and so if you want to be a part of an innovative company and something new, you know, Bell Helicopter is certainly someplace you got to look at getting on the team.
I appreciate it. You've got that recruiting message out there, so if
Yeah.
anybody's got it, let us
Absolutely.
know or let him know whether you're interested with him. Sir, thanks very much again. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it, and hope to see you guys down in Texas as well.
And you will. Thank you.